All right, welcome back to another episode of the most electric podcast out there. I am your host, Francisco. This podcast is part of the More Than Baseball organization. More Than Baseball is working daily to better the lives of minor leaguers all over baseball. Their mission is to protect and enhance the future of the game um, by allowing every ball player to live a better life during and after their career. They have a ton of programs, including financial guidance, education, mental health, and a lot more. Check them out at morethanbaseball.org. They are doing their part to help minor leaguers. Okay, I am super excited for my guest today. He's a top 30 prospect with the Houston Astros and was their minor league player of the year in 2021. Maybe perhaps one of the best voices in all of minors. Luke Berryhill, how's it going, brother?
It's going good, man. Good to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on. Like I said, 30 prospect. I want to start off by talking about that. Is that something that like you're aware of, or like you're kind of like in tune with, kind of knowing like where you kind of rank among like prospects and stuff like that?
Sure. I mean, all in all, like it's it's all about what the team thinks about you.
Yeah.
So I mean, writers, they say what they want, whether it's good or bad. You can't try to either get a big head or get too in your feels about it. You just gotta, just stay in your lane. You can't get too caught up in that. But yes, we do look at that. One of my buddies, Colin Barber, he got dropped down like one or two when he got hurt, giving him crap about that, and
Yeah.
he's funny. So, but
Wow. So is it kind of like a friendly competition then? Like, once you kind of got into that top 30, how did you find out? Did someone let you know, like, hey, dude, like you're top 30 now, like way to go, like you're absolutely crushing it?
my dad is he's always reading up on all that kind of stuff, man. Stuff that I've never even thought to Google
Yeah.
or stuff that I really don't care to see all
Hmm.
because it gets you in your head a little bit. If you start seeing too much stuff, you start thinking a lot. So you try to keep it as simple as possible. But yeah, my dad, as soon as that list was released, he was calling me about it. So
That's electric. And I'm sure he's probably going to listen to this. So I'm gonna go ahead and give him a shout out in advance, shout out to your dad. Um, yeah, so thanks for listening. But anyway, so how's the rehab going? Obviously you're rehabbing now, which kind of threw a wrench in like your season because you were just crushing it. But like how's the rehab going? Like, what have you been up to?
man, I got down here probably I think it was about 2.5 weeks ago. It's been almost 4 weeks since the injury happened, and I'm just down here working out. Um, as of yesterday, they've had me doing a little more baseball stuff. I got to do a little defensive work. Started throwing a little bit because it's my ring finger, so I don't really need that for
Mhm.
much. So I'm careful with that. They pretty much let me, just ramp up from here on out.
For sure. And what have you been doing to keep yourself busy? Because obviously, like mentally, it has to be hard just seeing like the guys out there playing and grinding, and you're obviously in Florida, not being able to be with them. So, like, what have you been doing to keep yourself busy, but also like mentally like strong?
Man, a lot of, I mean, you get to know some of the guys down here, and they're your new family now, since you're going to see them all day, every day, just about. So you really try to hang out with the guys as much as possible, lean on them. It does get hard, just being down here doing the same thing every day. Um, but just playing video games a lot of video games.
I respect
um,
that.
yeah, dude, you got to, man. It's the guys that don't have a PlayStation or Xbox. It blows me away. What do they do? They just lay in their bed all day. They go,
Yeah,
I don't know what they do. But yeah, that movies, play my guitar good about.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, just try to keep your mind occupied somehow.
yeah. And you mentioned like the guys out there. Are those just other guys rehabbing, or like who else is out there? Like, is it a good group of people?
It is a good group of guys. Yeah,
Okay.
other guys rehabbing. The guys that I know at least.
Hmm.
The new draft guys are here. I've met a few of them. They're pretty cool. But yeah, like Matthew Barefoot, he had some shoulder surgery right before the season. Colin Barber, he's down here getting something checked out. A couple other guys that I know. So it could be worse.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you talk about video games. So what kind of games are you playing? Like what let's just tell the people a little bit more about you. Like what kind of video games are you rolling? Are you Fortnite, Warzone? What are you doing?
Okay. So I'm a big Rocket League guy.
Okay.
So me, Matthew Barefoot, and a couple other guys play Rocket League with each other just about every night. I do enjoy Call of Duty as well. Not a big Warzone guy. I like
Mhm.
I like just the normal multiplayer, playing some search and destroy. That's my cup of tea. Um, I do really enjoy like role playing games, like Uncharted. You know that movie that just came out?
Hmm. Hmm.
That was based on a video game series, and so like playing through story modes like that, I'm a big fan of. Zombie games like The Last of Us. That's one of my favorite games. All kind of stuff like that. So
Yeah, all right. So you're like the second person recently to tell me about Rocket League, and I haven't played that in like years.
mhm.
And like even when I did play it, I sucked, and like I probably still do. Like I might have to download that and just run it with you a couple times and see if I can get a little practice in.
There you go. I'll see if I can carry you to a dove. But yeah, man, the learning curve is huge, man. Like the difference between one rank and the next. I mean, it takes many hours to even get a little bit better. So I mean, it's so I wouldn't sink too much time in it unless you get hurt and you got a lot of downtime like me.
Yeah. No, see, I'm more of like a Call of Duty guy. I jump back in Fortnite as soon as there's no building. Like I just been crushing that a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not really good at Warzone. Like I'll do multiplayer, like gun game, free for all, just a bunch of random things.
Hmm.
But Rocket League, yeah, I've never gotten too hardcore into that. I mean, like I may dabble. I may have to buy it and download it. We'll see we'll see what happens. But Warzone or Call of Duty, I'll run that with you. I mean, also you have a ton of time in your hands. I game like every night, so like if you ever if you ever need a gaming guy, like I definitely will run that with you for sure.
Fair. Sounds good.
Are you Xbox guy or PlayStation? That's
I'm a
that's probably
PlayStation 4.
PlayStation 4.
Me and Matthew Barefoot rode to GameStop right down the road and asked them for PlayStation 5, any updates and stuff. And so I got the manager's number. He's going to call me whenever there's a shipment coming in. So
Okay. See, that's the
yeah,
hookup right there. Would you just give them a couple tickets or something and be like, hey, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
yeah, pretty much. Whatever you got to do.
I respect that. I respect that. All right. So, like I mentioned, you're one of the minor league players of the year or the minor league player of the year for the Astros. How did you find out about that? And like, what goes into that? Like, what do they give you? This like a trophy or a certificate? Like, I honestly have no idea. It's like, what goes into all of that?
So funny enough, the third game of the year last year, I ended up tearing my labrum in my left shoulder, and so they said you could either get surgery now or you could play through it and get surgery after the season. So I just played through it, and somehow I ended up having a great year despite that. And
Yeah.
so that's very blessed and fortunate for that. And so I was probably a week out or 2 weeks out from my surgery. After the surgery, I was down in West Palm Beach rehabbing at our facility, and our assistant GM walked up to me. I hadn't seen him yet, and I was like, "Oh crap, this could either be good or bad." So I
Yeah.
was like, "How's it going, man?" Like, and he had a big smile on his face. So I was feeling good, and he said, "Whatever." We talked for a minute, and then he said, "I got some news. Which the front office has voted on you to be our minor league player of the year." And I was speechless, man. Like that was surreal. So yeah, I went and called my dad and everything. They gave me it's like one of those crystal trophies. It looks like a diamond
Okay.
with minor league player of the year on it, stuff like that. And then they flew me and my family out to Houston, and I got recognized on top of the home dugout in front of the crowd. So, and in the I think it was the ALCS game, one of
Okay.
the AL. Yeah, so that was really cool.
That's awesome. So you went to go ahead and introduce yourself to the Houston crowd and just kind of did you give Maldonado and the other catchers a look like, hey, I'm coming for that?
And I would have if I saw him. I didn't really see anybody. It was fun enough. Have you ever heard of Damon Berryhill?
I think I like Googled your name and his name popped up. I don't know who that is though.
There you go. So he was a big league catcher for the Cubs, I think the Braves, a couple other teams back in the 80s and 90s, I think. And everyone always asked me if I'm related to him. As I was getting off the dugout, Dusty Baker yelled, "Yo, Berryhill, how's it going?" And so I ran back up there, and he was like, "Hey, congratulations, son. Are you related to Barry or Damon Berryhill?" And I was like, "No, I wish."
That's crazy. How
But
was it meeting Dusty? Because obviously he's just a legend in the game. Like how was that experience just getting to be like in his presence? Like I'd just be speechless.
that was really cool. Yeah, that moment was really cool. In spring training this year, actually, so I got called up to play a couple of the big league games, and he was managing those games, and I got to talk to him for a little bit. Such a cool dude. You're just real old school, just shoot the crap with you. But he does have that serious side to him that every ball player needs. That like once it's game time, it's time to go. But in the clubhouse and and away from the field, he's a cool guy. I enjoyed meeting him.
That's incredible. And also you got to meet some of the players there too, I'm assuming, and all that while you were there.
I briefly said hi to Justin Verlander when he was pitching that day. That was kind of cool. Um, let's see, Jeff Bagwell. He's one of the Astros like front office guys. I don't really know what he does, but I'm talking to him for a good bit. He's cool. Yeah, it was fun.
Was that during spring training or during like when you were getting recognized?
Spring training. Yep,
Okay.
this spring training a few months ago. So
Did you catch any of the big leaguers when you said you caught a couple games? Like, did you ever get catch any of the big leaguers like Verlander or whoever, any other of those guys?
I did not. I caught a few AAA guys, I believe. Maybe a 40-man guy. I don't really remember. No, so I guess not. It was mostly minor that day.
Well, good shout out to you. Like I said, I mean, minor league player of the year, is that good? Yeah, you tell me, but that's pretty good. That season that you're having, which is incredible. We'll talk about that in a quick second, but I want to talk about your guitar. Obviously, like I mean, you're a country singer. Do your teammates just look at you when you have your guitar and think like this dude just has it all? Yeah, looks. You're a baseball player. You have the voice. Like if I had like a quarter of your talent, like I'd be the cockiest person out there. Like how do you just manage all that?
So my mom's always instilled in me like if you're good at something, don't show off kind of thing. But it is nice to feel good about it now and then. But yeah, I try to keep it low key, whatever I'm doing. But yeah, I love bringing the guitar out, like on bus trips and stuff, or in the locker room. Just play for the guys. They always ask me to sing "Simple Man" by Leonard Skinner. That's their favorite one to sing, and then they'll just throw out random ones for me to sing. Yeah, it's a good time, dude. My teammates enjoy it.
Yeah. So who on your team right now has like the best voice? Like, I mean, if you're playing and someone joins in, like who would you say has the best voice? Obviously, other than you, but someone on your team.
That's a good question, man. I've asked plenty of people to sing, and nobody wants to do it.
Dang.
It's stage fright is a real thing, that's for sure. But like once you do it a few times, you kind of get the nerves out of the way. So I think they just got to try it out one time. It's all fun. We're not going to judge them or anything, even if they are bad. But
yeah, especially if you're out there with the boys in the locker room, it's all good and fun. I mean, obviously, no one's there trying to be like the next singer on the American Idol or the Voice or whatnot. You're just out there having a good time. So I respect that. You talk about stage fright. Like, how did you get over your stage fright? Like when you first started playing guitar?
Oh boy, here's a story. Okay, so back at my high school, there's a thing. So it was River Ridge High School in Woodstock, Georgia. There's a thing called the Mr. River Ridge pageant. It was supposed to be like a male beauty pageant kind of thing, but it's for charity. It was supposed to be funny and entertaining. And so I got roped into doing that. I was going to tell stupid jokes or something. But then the day before, something came over me saying, "Luke, you need to sing in this thing." And so I told my dad, and he was like, "Okay, well, let's get to work." I'd never sang in front of anybody, not even my parents. And so so then the next day I was out there singing in front of 500 people, and I walked out on stage, and it was dead quiet in there. I was walking out there, my hand was shaking because I was so nervous. I heard a girl in the front row say, "Poor thing, he's shaking."
Oh man!
I heard stage, dude. That made it worse because I tried to stop. But then the music started. Did the first verse and chorus. I think it went pretty good, and then the place went bananas. And then the place was so loud I couldn't hear the music to come back in, and so I missed my mark. And for like 10 seconds, I was up there just trying to find out where I was in the song. But I mean, it can't get any worse than that, I figure. So
yeah, and that's incredible because I mean, obviously, you weren't expecting to sing and have that reaction, but once you had that reaction from the crowds, were you just thinking to yourself like, this I might be pretty good at this kind of thing?
Yeah. I was like, I was so nervous beforehand, and after that, I was like, "Oh, I got this. Let's just kill it." So
that's awesome. Yeah, and like I'm not any musician. Actually, I grew up. I played the cello growing up and stuff.
Oh wow.
Like we did cello, trumpet, piano. I a little bit of guitar. Like I wouldn't consider myself a musician or anything like that. Like my sister is like she's a music major, or she was a music teacher and all that stuff. And like my mom was a music major, so like music has always kind of been in our family. But I wouldn't claim to have any kind of voice. But if I ever go out there, actually you're in Florida. I was gonna say Arizona, but if I ever go to Florida, we'll rock out together. Like I'll I'll sing. I don't care about the whole stage fright. Like I don't really have that, kind of stage fright thing. So like we'll
Good.
sing, like we'll go out. Maybe who knows? Maybe I'll have that experience that you had, and people are gonna give me an ovation, and I'm like, well, I actually have something here.
Well, there you go, man. Yeah, we'll find the biggest club around and play right in front of everybody.
That's what I'm talking about. See, I just needed that motivation to be like, you know what, I can do this too. So let's talk about your career in growing up and stuff. It's like, when did you start playing baseball, and when did you realize, like, I'm kind of nasty at this?
Um, so I started when I was 3. My parents never told me to run to first base. They just thought I knew. So my first hit, I ran straight to third, and so I figure I've gotten decent since then. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, dude. I guess when I was probably 13 or 14, that's when I started hitting a lot of home runs,
Mm-hmm.
and hey, we might have something here. And then in high school, I became a really good defensive catcher, and then went to college, and just kept developing from there pretty much. So
Was your high school team pretty good or no?
we were decent. Nothing crazy. I think we made it the first round of the playoffs 2 years in a row. But yeah, other than that, dude, since then they've been really good. They made it to the Final Four. They made it to the championship. Never won it though. So we're on the verge.
What were your stats like in high school? Like, were you just like body bagging these random pitchers, and
Dude,
ruining their careers, having them decide, what, I'm not going to be a pitcher no more. I'm just going to go try something else in life.
yeah, play soccer or something, man. No, honestly, I in high school I wasn't a great hitter. Like in middle school, I was tearing it up, but then I guess when the heavy bats came around, something didn't click.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but I guess I was so good defensively that it kind of just carried me until I got to pro ball and developed a little more. Yeah, I don't know, dude. It was weird for
So
sure.
how was like the college recruitment? Because obviously you went JUCO, but before that, you're injured for where did you go before that? Because I know you got injured for like right into the beginning of the season.
Yeah. I went to Georgia Southern,
Okay.
so I think the second or third game of the year, I hurt my back, and so I redshirted that whole year. Went back in the fall, and nothing clicked at all. I couldn't catch, I couldn't hit at all. So I knew I wasn't going to play much that spring, and so I went JUCO and got my wheels back under me, and then everything started going, and I ended up at South Carolina, had a really good season, and then got drafted by the Reds. So
Yeah, and you like you said, you Georgia Southern. Is that D1 or what is that?
yeah, it's a D1, yeah, in
Okay.
South Georgia.
Very cool. How was the recruitment for that then? I mean, like what other schools were you interested in, like before you committed to them, and like what year were you in high school when you did commit?
I was going into my junior year
Okay.
of high school. It was really early. It was actually my first offer. Um, so so my dad, he was never he played a lot of sports and stuff growing up, but like this was all our first time going through recruitment and stuff like that. We didn't really have anybody guiding me through like what to do. So I got a really good offer from Georgia Southern. It was a D1 school. We visited it. We liked the school. The coach liked me a lot, and so we were like, yeah, might as well just lock it down. And so after that, no more offers came in. I heard some SEC schools were interested in me, but I stayed firm with Georgia Southern.
Mm-hmm.
Um, honestly, I wouldn't do it any different. I learned a lot through this whole process, going through 3 different schools.
Yeah.
Um, met a lot of cool people, guys I still call friends. Um, even though like I'm smarter now because of it, I wouldn't do anything different.
Yeah. I respect that. And like I said, you committed after your sophomore year, going into your junior year.
Yep.
Like heading into like that junior year as a student at your high school, like where people just looking at you like, dude, there's that D1 commit.
Dude, yes, I was the first D1 commit from my high school. The high school had only been open like 10 years, so I was the first D1 commit. I think the second D1 athlete total at the high school. Definitely the first pro player, even though we have a couple more now. Um, but yeah, that was a pretty cool experience, dude. I did not get voted most likely to go pro. I'm still a
What?
little salty about that. Yeah. So we had a big football player at the time.
Okay.
The guy was pretty good, so he got voted that, and I was like, man, what? Still a little salty.
Yeah.
Not too
Well, I mean,
salty.
hey, football players. I mean, I don't know like how it is out there if he was a big football town or a big baseball town, but I mean, I feel like sometimes they get some of the respect taken away from the baseball players, these football guys. But did he end up going pro? Like, was he drafted at all or no?
No, so he went
Wow.
to like Navy or something, and he didn't even make it through the first semester on the team. So
Wow. At least that's a little bit of motivation for you, a little chip on your shoulder. You go back after, like, during the off season or whatnot. You just look at your coach or look at your fellow teammates maybe in 10 years at like a reunion or something and be like, look, I went pro. So you just circle that in the yearbook, like, you know what, it's all good. That was my motivation. That kept me going, when I was grinding in the JUCO. And let's talk about JUCO. You went to Walter State and like
mhm.
you guys went 60-8. Is that right? Did I read that correctly?
Something like that, dude. It was insane. It was crazy.
Like how good was your team? Because obviously 60-8, no matter where you're playing, is incredible.
Yeah, dude. We didn't get flat out beat until I think the World Series. Um, yeah, every time we lost during the season that I can remember, we killed ourselves. Like we made mistakes, or we just I don't know. But yeah, we it was kind of cool going to the field every day, just knowing you're going to win.
Hmm.
Like you didn't you didn't have to put any pressure into it. You're
Yeah.
just like 1 through 9 here is going D1 on our squad. A bunch of them are going Power Five. Like we got this. We
Yeah.
just show up and just play our game, relax, and we're gonna win. That was pretty cool.
Is Walter State considered one of like the better JUCOs out there or no?
It is. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Us, Capola,
Yeah, I know about Chipola.
a couple, Sanjak from Texas, a couple others from Texas. Dyersburg from Tennessee. They're usually pretty good. But yeah, Walters is usually at the top.
Okay. And what is it, Wabash? There's another one like in Illinois, like Wabash, maybe Wabash Community.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, I
I
know
can't.
they're pretty good. I know a couple guys who came out of there.
Okay.
Yeah. So, your stats like 376 average, 13 nukes. Like, I mean, that's good right there. Do you have any interesting JUCO stories? Because I talk to guys all the time who went to JUCO and they're like, yeah, after practice we had to run up a mountain or we had to do a 2-mile hike. All these things that you normally wouldn't go through at like a D1 school, but it's JUCO, so people don't really care. Like, do you have any like interesting JUCO stories?
Man, so I guess I got lucky. Because remember I said I went to Georgia Southern in the
Mhm.
fall, transferred to Walter State. So I missed the whole fall, which apparently they ran their guts out. And there were some crazy stories with guys like saying, "Hey, save it on this one so we can do better on the next." And the coach heard him and he freaked out on him and stuff. Like it was crazy
Yeah,
stuff that I wish I could have seen, but I'm kind of glad I didn't. So,
that's
but
crazy.
no, we didn't really, dude. As long as we were winning, our
Yeah.
coach he took it really easy on us. Honestly, we just show up every day, hit BP, do some defense, and play the game. We'd win. He'd be happy. That's all we really cared about. So
Yeah. And did you guys go to the College World or a JUCO World Series or no?
we did. Yep, in Grand Junction. Yeah, we got second to Chipola,
And
and so
Chipola's good though. Like they just crank out dudes. Like they got
yeah,
studs on that team.
yeah, they always do. You know what it is they're technically like a state school instead of a JUCO, something like that, and so they
I
get
read
double.
that. Yeah.
So they can usually bring in a bunch of guys on full scholarships, but um, I mean that's not an excuse or anything. I honestly thought we had the better team. We beat them pretty good the first time we beat them, or we played them in the World Series. The second time they beat us. That's it's just how it is. And then the third game, it was the rubber match, the very last game, no matter what.
Hmm.
Um, and let's see, it was like first and third. Our first baseman dropped a pickoff at first. We had the guy out. It's 2 outs. Would have been out into the inning. The next guy hit a 2-run double. And then a couple innings later, our shortstop made a ground ball, threw it to first. They called him safe, even though he was out. Next guy hit a 2-run double. So it's just, what can you do? So
Yeah, and that's just the way the game is sometimes. So like you could have won. Like you guys went toe to toe with them. Like it wasn't like you guys are overmatched or anything. That's crazy.
we were not overmatched at all. No, it was great.
Nice. And then also you go to South Carolina. Like, how was that? Like, were they just calling you like, hey, I mean, we're looking at your numbers here. Like, we want you to come play on our team.
So, dude, that's funny. I believe I actually committed to South Carolina before I committed to Walter State. And
Okay.
so, yeah, so I left Georgia Southern, and then within a week we were sending out like emails and stuff, and I was talking to a lot of coaches like Auburn, Georgia, pretty much all the SEC schools for the
No
most
big deal.
part.
Just SEC
And
schools.
yeah, um, but yeah, then South Carolina was the only school that I could go to Oh no, so no. It was close to when I committed to Walter State. It was the only school I could go to before I headed out to JUCO. The only one I could visit, and so I went out there. I absolutely loved it, and I thought, "There's nothing more I need to see. I want to go here."
Yeah, and like, were you able to go to like a football game during that time? I don't know if they were playing or not, but like, were you able to get like the full experience?
So no, they showed me around the baseball field. I believe they drove me around the campus. We saw the student athlete center,
Mhm.
like the cafeteria, all the study hall rooms. They took me to the football field to go see all that. Yeah, I think it was like late December when that was going on. So no football at the time, but honestly, yeah, I just fell in love with it within 5 minutes of being there, and so yeah,
And
that's
and
all.
that's a good school too. Like obviously they have the history. I mean, I don't, your season. I don't think you guys. I don't know if you had the good, that good of a team that season, but do you think your Walter State team would have beat your South Carolina team?
Ooh, man, that's a good question, dude. It was a big jump going from JUCO to South Carolina. Just the arms you're seeing
Hmm.
in JUCO, like if like when you play Chipola, you're going to see 90 miles an hour and up. Throughout most of the year, you're seeing maybe 85. So I mean, that's just BP if you're a decent hitter. And so honestly, I think if we had a little time to adjust at Walter State, we would have put up a good game. I think so, because I mean our whole lineup was going D1. So I mean it's who knows.
Yeah, and you play with TJ Shook in South Carolina. He's been promising to come on my pod for a while now. He might be dead to me because he just hasn't come on, and like he's been kind of putting it off and rescheduling and stuff. So I'm gonna have to see. I'll keep you updated on that. But he's somebody who's should be coming on the pod. Like he's been saying he's gonna come on, so hopefully we'll see him soon. But he plays for well, he was in Appleton, and I had to reach out to him because I live in the general area. And I grew up an A's fan. Now I'm in Wisconsin, so I'll
Okay.
watch the Brewers and stuff. But yeah. So I mean, he's should come on the pod. We'll find. We'll I'll have to update you on that. But a lot of good
Yeah.
guys on your team. I think also another catcher who's in the Brewers organization as well.
Wes Clark.
Yeah, Wes Clark. Like, how are those guys over there? Are they pretty good?
Oh yeah. I mean they're playing pro ball, so I mean
Yeah.
that for itself. But yeah, that Wes can flat out hit, man. It's impressive. I was so he was a freshman when I was there and wasn't getting a lot of playing time because we had an older team for the most part in the field. And so like towards the end of the season, I was kind of pushing our coach like, hey, why don't you let Wes hit? Like
Mhm.
I've been seeing him in practice and everything. Dude can hit. And then he came in, he hit like 5 or 6 bombs in the last month, and I was like, yeah, this guy's gonna be something special. And so and then he went on an absolute tear his junior year at South Carolina, hit like 25 bombs or something crazy. Um, and then Shook, he's just always been a good pitcher. Not much, not much to
Mhm.
add there. I knew he was going pro
Yeah.
when I. So.
That's awesome. Yeah, like I said, he should be coming on the pod. I'll have to see how that all shakes out. But how was like the football scene? Like obviously, you guys have a D1 team and all that. Like, how was the college game days experiences in like the SEC?
Dude, it was unreal. I was very glad I got to experience that for a year. A couple of the older guys on the baseball team, they had some connections in town. Some of them were born in Columbia, so they knew a bunch of people. Um, so they always had a spot probably half a mile from the stadium. All the roads were shut down. You had to walk everywhere. It was like a mile from my apartment
Wow.
to the spot, and then another half mile to the stadium. So yeah, pretty much the whole team would go there, just hang out for a few hours, grill out, and all that stuff. And then there was a place called the Frat Lots. So uh, the fraternities at South Carolina were technically on campus, so they couldn't
Mhm.
have any parties or tailgates at their houses. And so there was this big place called the Frat Lots where every frat had a tent set up. And so every now and then we go over there, and it's just absolute chaos. I mean, pretty much what you'd expect.
Yeah,
So it was never a dull moment on a football game day. So
that's awesome. And the SEC is just different than like I don't know. They just do it different. I feel like out in the South, like I don't know. I mean, here in the Midwest, like I mean, Wisconsin is known for what they're known for, but I mean, I just feel like the SEC is just a whole different beast.
dude, it's yeah, because I mean there's not a lot of pro teams in the South. Like, I mean, there's the Falcons and stuff, and then I guess the Titans, and but most of the states down here don't have a pro team, and so they really rally around
Mm-hmm.
the college team, no matter what it is. People from all over the state go to the Carolina games, go to all the Georgia games, every stuff. I grew up going to all those stuff, so it's yeah, they do it different for sure.
That's awesome. That's incredible. And who was your like biggest rival, like on the baseball side of things?
It was Clemson, South
Okay.
Carolina's was Clemson.
So
In
okay.
all,
In all sports? Okay. And because I know in football it is, but I wasn't sure how baseball maybe it was different or whatnot. But how
oh
was
yeah,
it playing those games? Like was it did you guys just take it up just a different level? And
dude,
you got to hear from the Clemson fans and all that?
it was unreal, dude. Yeah, the first game. So funny enough, the I think it was the Wednesday or something. We had a midweek game before the Clemson series. That's when I hurt my shoulder
Okay.
originally, and so uh, and then in pro ball, I hurt it again a few years later. Didn't have any problems until then, which is weird. But yeah, so I struck out like 4 or 5 times the first game because I could barely swing. The next game, I like flew out one time, struck out the next couple, and then I hit 2 bombs on the Sunday game. And so like it was nuts, man. Those were the absolute best games that I've ever been a part of. Besides the games at Mississippi State, that's a whole other thing. But yeah, the
Is that
Clemson.
also a rival to Mississippi State?
No.
No.
We played there at the end of the season, which that was unreal. There's like 17,000 people there.
Wow.
But yeah, the Clemson games were dope. I think there were a couple celebrities there. Like I think Darius Rucker came to one
Oh,
because
nice.
he's a Carolina guy. Yeah, a couple other people. Yeah, those were sold out. Place was just you could feel the ground shaking.
Yeah.
So,
And, like, how were the fans? Like, are they pretty like ruthless, like chirping at you guys? Also you're catching or playing first base. I don't know what you were doing at that point, but like you could probably if you're catching, you can hear them definitely from behind you.
oh yeah. If there were a ball that went by me, which I take pride in my defense, so it rarely did. But if there was one, they were letting me hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you strike out or something, they're gonna hound you all the way back to the dugout. That's pretty much what I've gotten used to back then, and then in pro ball, it's kind of been because I mean you're gonna get it anyway. So,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, it is. I really wish I could go back and play in another series of that. That was pretty special.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like I said, the SEC, the environment there, it's just absolutely electric. Football and baseball and everything like that.
Mhm.
You obviously you go SEC all the way to the minors, which is just a whole different animal. But how was your draft day experience? Like, how was, or actually, you know what? Let me ask you this: when was your if to when moment? Like, instead of saying, if I get drafted, and you started saying to yourself, when I get drafted. Like, when did you realize, like, you know what, I got a shot?
Probably about halfway through my junior year, the Carolina season. Um, in JUCO, I'd talked to a few scouts, and they said, "Yeah, just go to South Carolina and see what you do." And then about halfway through the Carolina season, I was like, "Okay, I'm putting up good numbers." I'm like, you try not to, but you start comparing yourself to like what other guys are doing on different teams, like the other studs, and you're like, "Okay, I'm keeping up with these guys. These guys are supposed to get drafted, and so if I just keep this up, there's a good shot." So,
Yeah.
but dude, it's funny the draft day. So it's a long story. I won't get into it at all, but essentially we told the scouts that I wanted to go back to Carolina for another year. Anyways, the third day of the draft, I hadn't heard from my agent. I hadn't heard from any scouts or anything, and then so I sleep with my phone on do not disturb.
Yeah.
Uh, so I forgot to take it off of that on the draft day. So I was at lunch with one of my buddies for like an hour and a half or something. Then I finally looked at my phone. I had like 50 missed calls. I had 100 texts. Like I was what the hell? Who died? Like what?
Yeah.
And so then I called my agent and was like, yeah, what's going on? He's like, yeah, you got drafted.
Were you just
So
not expecting to get drafted, or you were just like, you know what, if it happens, it happens. I'm good with however it plays out.
I was fully intent on going back to school.
Okay.
And I was actually going to the Cape like the next week, and so just some stuff ended up happening. I ended up signing with the Reds. So looking back, I mean, I wish I would have been a little more forthcoming with scouts, like saying, "Yeah, I want to get drafted," because we talked to some scouts. I would have got drafted a lot higher.
Wow.
Maybe got some more money, but
Hmm.
that's 2020. I'm glad I'm here now. I got the opportunity. So
Yeah, and that was 2019, right?
It was. Yep.
Yeah, so the next year was draft was 5 rounds. Who knows what would have happened if you had you gone back? So you know what, it all works out. It all works out. And you talk about your signing bonus. Obviously, you got a good little chunk of change. What was the first thing you bought that you're like, oh, that was a dumb purchase, or maybe like the first big purchase you done? A new guitar, maybe a truck.
Oh man, I did buy a truck. That's for sure. I can't remember the first thing. I might have gone and taken my parents out for a nice dinner or something like that.
Yeah,
I'm not a spender, honestly. Like I bought that truck. Um, I bought some music equipment. I already had two guitars, so I think I bought an amplifier. Um, I don't know, man. I just try not to blow it all, kind of thing.
yeah. That's good.
So,
You're responsible. Me, I probably would have. I don't know what I would have done. I would have gone crazy. Going from being a college kid with nothing, eating peanut butter jelly sandwiches to like now I got a decent chunk of change. So maybe that's why you're the baseball player and I'm just the one talking to you about baseball. So I guess it all has a plan. It all works out.
I'm definitely PlayStation 5 here soon, though. So
There you
that's
go. About the minor league. So obviously, like I said, you were SEC. Nice facilities, nice traveling, and then you go right to the minors. Like how was that experience adjusting from SEC life to like the minors, which is just an absolute grind, and obviously the travel is not as nice.
yeah, dude. It was different for sure. Yeah, I kind of lucked out when I got to the Astros organization because Fayetteville, our low A,
Mhm.
is brand new pretty much, and so that was really nice. But when I was with the Reds, my short season year, right after I got drafted, that was pretty rough. We played in some rough establishments.
Was that the Appy League?
It was the Appy League,
Yeah,
yep, yep. So we played it. I mean, my high school field was better than some of these fields, man. It was bad, but you know, you got to pay your dues.
yeah.
And so once I got to the Astros, things started picking up and things started getting a little nicer.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, like I've heard stories about the Appy League, horror stories of the travel, of the hotels, the terrible fills. Like you said, some like high school stadiums are like way nicer than some of those out there.
Big
But
time.
let's talk about your 2020. Obviously, you get traded to the Reds, from the Reds to the Astros.
Mhm.
Let's talk about your 2021 season. You went from low A to high A to double A all in one season. At what point did you think like, wow, things are going really well for me?
Man, it was looking pretty grim when I was in Fayetteville. I just for some reason that the hitting was not clicking through like the
Mhm.
first month and a half, maybe 2 months, and then just out of nowhere we went to the Salem Red Sox place in Salem, Virginia, and I just went off, dude. I think I hit 5 homers that week, and then the next week, yeah, I got called up to high A, and it just never stopped. So
Yeah.
uh, I just, sometimes it's just that little thing
Mhm.
that just clicks, and then you feel like you're unstoppable. So
For sure. And what was like the harder jump from like, was it low A to high A or like high A to double A where you saw like the biggest jump in competition?
I'd say probably to double A. So the strike zone got a lot smaller, that's for sure, which I enjoyed.
Hmm.
Um, but also made it harder catching wise because I was stealing a bunch of strikes in high A and low A. But then once the strike zone shrunk, you really have to work a lot harder on your receiving skills as a catcher too,
Hmm.
to try to get strikes. But yeah, dude, the pitching in double A is just it's so much better. Guys can locate a lot better. That's the biggest thing. Like the high A guys have all the stuff, but they just can't locate that well. So you're kind of, you'll go take a lot more walks. But then in double A, you're not walking a ton. These guys are going to pound the zone, hit their spots for the most part, and they're going to really make you earn every hit that you get. So yeah, I mean, even into this year, I struggled a little bit at times and, just trying not to let the lows get too low.
Hmm. I respect that. And you talking about the lows getting too low. Like, how do you stay like mentally strong? Because obviously baseball, like everyone's gonna struggle. Like it's a game of failure, right? Like how do you stay mentally strong knowing that, you have the skill to like do well and like your past experiences obviously show that in your career path so far. But like how do you stay mentally strong in that situation?
It's hard, dude. I mean, I've been playing this game for 20 years, and it never really gets any easier. I mean, real. So there's two different kinds of slumps, I guess. There's the slump where you couldn't hit anything if your life depended on it, and then there's a slump where you're hitting line drives, but they're just getting out, every time. Like you're hitting the ball,
Mhm.
but it's just not working out for you. So most of this season has been me hitting the ball well and it just not working out, which is sometimes equally as frustrating because I mean your stats are still going down, 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 but you're doing everything you can and it's still not working out. But then there's other times where you get jammed and it falls in, you get a double out of it. I mean, baseball is just not fair. So
Yeah.
that's the bottom line. But yeah, how you stay mentally strong, you just a lot of it I think comes down to maybe your teammates finding a couple guys that you can talk to and just talk baseball and life with and stuff like that. That really helps you get it off your chest. External focuses like video games, they're a good one. Just help you get your mind off of baseball for a little bit. Uh, Playing my guitar, maybe write a song if I feel inspired to. Um, yeah, just trying to keep your mind off of baseball, away from the field.
Yeah.
Even if you're doing good, like it's not good to get too wrapped up in it, either good or bad. So
That's good. That's a good point and like perspective on it. Obviously your guitar probably helps you calm down and or if you're too high, keeps you grounded, and if you're down, it kind of lifts you up a little bit. Country songs, they say country songs are kind of sad sometimes, or so maybe you just write a sad song about how you struck out a couple times, and then we'll sing that, and then the next thing you know, like you're doing better.
well, there you go. I might need to try that next time. That's a good
That's what
idea.
I'm saying. And it may be a hit too, like, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, and if it does become a hit, like you're gonna have to credit me somewhere in the credits. Obviously, I'm gonna have to have a little bit of say in that if it goes, if it goes viral and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
just like cut.
there you go. I appreciate that. That's all I'm asking for. So I love to talk to guys about their minor or their experiences in the minor leagues. Obviously, it's a grind. Do you have any interesting or funny minor league stories that can only happen like in the minor leagues?
Uh, so yeah, I'm not gonna name any names, but if he hears this or any of my teammates hear it, they'll know who he is. So one of my buddies, last season, we were, I think we were in Charleston, and so there were some people yelling at him, like kind of heckling him a little bit, but then turns out that there was this girl in the crowd that thought he was cute, and so they were trying to get my buddy's attention for her,
Okay.
and uh, so then so then she ended up making a TikTok about it, and he went absolutely viral. And just so the funny thing, he had a girlfriend at the time, and so his girlfriend ended up getting mad at him, kind of thing, and it was a whole mess. But that
Jeez.
was so funny. Well, I still give him crap about it to this day. Like just something you never thought would happen, and
Yeah.
it happened to the guy you were sitting right next to in the bullpen. So
That's crazy. So let me ask you this then. I mean, obviously you sing, as you've done the national anthem a couple times. Like, how crazy were your DMs? Like, just blowing up when they're like, "Oh, this guy plays and he sings." Like, everyone's just sending you all these DMs now.
oh yeah, dude, and it actually started back in I think, yeah, I was at South Carolina. They were recognizing the baseball team at one of the basketball games,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a sellout crowd there. There was like 20 something thousand people at the basketball game, and so they brought me out at halftime to do some little thing, and they had me sing "Friends in Low Places" by Garth Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
So I sang on the mic, and everyone went bananas, and I ended up getting like close to 1,000 followers that night. I got so many messages, and so it started then, and then yeah, once I started singing the national anthem in minor leagues, it just keeps rolling. Dude, every time I do it, I get like 500 followers, so it's kind of cool.
It's crazy. All these country girls like, "Oh, he plays baseball and he can sing." Like, I gotta get a piece of this.
Bingo, bingo, you ain't wrong. So
There you go. What I would pay just to see some of the messages you get. Oh my goodness.
yeah, I'm show you one here after this.
Yeah, I want to see it. Yeah, just take a screenshot, show me it, because I find it fascinating because I live vicariously through you guys. I never was a baseball player. I don't sing, and you guys are
Yeah.
getting all this attention. Like, that's awesome. What city have you gone to where you like look around, you get off the bus, and you're like, dude, where am I? I'm in the middle of nowhere. Because obviously, the like minor league teams are in the smallest of towns in the middle of nowhere. Like, what's one city you've gone to, and you're like, dude, there's nothing here.
Man, it's probably pretty much every place when I was in the Appy League was like that.
Hmm.
I was in Greenville, Tennessee, which the biggest thing around there is Tusculum College. But everywhere else in that league, it was pretty grim. Um, let's see. we've stopped at some very, very sketchy places, like on road trips, like just middle of nowhere, like Oklahoma, or like some random gas station mixed with a McDonald's way out in the middle of nowhere in Texas. You get some experiences for sure. I'm not really sure if I can put it down to one place.
Yeah. So you what league were you in for low A? Was that the Carolina League or no?
But yeah, it was Carolina League. Yep.
Did you play in, is it Kingston, where they have like the Mother Earth Lodge? I think.
I don't know. Didn't play in Kingston.
Trying to think. It's like the Wood Ducks or something, I think their name is.
Down East.
Down East Wood Ducks? Okay. Is that where they have like that hotel that's all painted weird colors, like a hippie did it pretty much?
I have no idea. I never played in Down East. They came to us twice. Got called
okay. Before. Okay, you might have lucked out then, because that's one place that people mention a lot, where like it's one of the worst places they've stayed at. So I'm like, all right, maybe you had it, but you lucked out. You missed that experience. Kudos to you for doing that. Last thing I want to talk about, actually, two things. Have you had any interesting like fan interactions? Because obviously, like, say you're top 30 player in the Astros organization. People know who you are. Like, do you have any interesting like fans asking for like, balls or sign things, or like what is the weirdest thing someone has asked you to sign? Like, have you had any like interesting fan interactions?
Yeah, dude, it's probably too many to count at this point. I've had people come up and ask me to sign their phones, like sign their shoes, all kind of stuff. Yeah, it gets kind of weird. Like you're walking to your car after the game, and people just like kind of chase you down in the middle of the parking lot when it's dark, and you're kind of sketched out.
Sketchy.
But I mean, at the game, I had a guy give me a cool Hooks shirt. I play for the Corpus Christi Hooks when I'm healthy, and he had a cool shirt, and I was like, "Oh, that's a pretty cool shirt." And he was like, "You want it?" And he brought it to me the next day.
That's sick.
Yeah, I got it right over there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's always something interesting, man.
Yeah.
If I could put it out of PSA, so
yeah,
it's all out there. Please stop asking for my bats and like my hat and stuff. Like I need that stuff to play. Like I'm never I'm not gonna give you a bat. Like that stuff's expensive. Maybe when I get to the pros, like, or the bigs, they can afford it. They make millions of dollars. They can just give away a bat. But in the minor leagues, we're still poor. We're not going to give you our glove. We're not going to give you our sunglasses. So that's a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah, no, you're right. Because Simon Rosenblum Larson, I don't know if you know him. He was with the Rays. He just got released recently. He founded More Than Baseball. He's one of the co-founders, and he was kind of telling me about like how so many kids ask for his glove, his bat, his shoes, and he's like, dude, I have to pay for all of this myself. So if I give you this, I got to buy myself a new one. Exactly. Like I don't just the team doesn't provide all that stuff for him. So like, yeah, that's crazy how these kids they'll just scream. Like I've been, and you can hear them too, because minor league stadiums are small. You just hear them shouting so much. Like, can I get a ball? Can I get your glove? Can I get your bat? And all that stuff. It has to be frustrating.
It is a little bit, especially if you've had a bad game. And like, it kind of, I mean, I guess this is what I signed up for, like being a pro ball player, like, people, want to take pictures, stuff, all that stuff. But it's a little, it feels like you're in a zoo sometimes, like you're a zoo animal. Like people just look at you through a net, and they just want something from you all the time. Like rarely do you hear, "Hey, good game. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be at the next one," or something. It's always, "Hey, sign this for me. Come, give me a hug," like all that kind of stuff. Like, so I mean, it's you kind of you try to block all that out and take it. Like people usually have good stuff in their hearts, so you just try to do that. I don't know. It's an interesting deal sometimes.
Yeah, and fans are ruthless. Like I had a guy tell me like someone chased them onto their bus and just started taking pictures, and like security had to like kick him off, and he's like, "No, dude, you can't do that." Or it's just wild what fans would do.
Yeah, man,
some of them will come with like the binders of like ask you to sign like 50 of their cards.
Yeah. I'll sign one or two, but dude, if you've got a whole page, I don't have time for that, man. Like I'm going somewhere. I don't have time to just sit there and sign for 30 minutes. But yeah, dude, I try to stay after the game, and like every home game at least, I've stayed after every single home game this year and signed until everyone's gone.
Look, you're a man of the people. Like we'll have to start the narrative. Like you're a man of the people.
That would be a great thing to add to my Instagram bio.
You might as well. You might as well. Like you just got to say man of the people, and that's all you got to do, man. Everyone's gonna come to you asking for the autographs, and like you're as long as they don't ask for your glove, your bat, your shoes. Like I said, you're just a man of the people. You're trying to do. Maybe they'll ask you to write them a song or something. Like, has a fan ever asked you to just hey, sing me a song or no?
I've had people ask me to sing to them, and usually I will. If it's just me and them. Like if there's a big crowd, I'll be like, maybe next time.
Yeah.
But if they're like the last person there, I'll sing to them a little bit. Yeah, so the thing that kind of gets in your head sometimes is like 95% of the fans out there are good people.
Yeah.
But then it's always the jerks that are the loudest.
Yeah.
And so when you're up at bat, people are heckling you and stuff. You don't want to talk to any fans the rest of the day. But you got to remember that most people there are good people and are going to be nice to you. And so I don't know. It's weird, man. It plays a lot of tricks on your mind.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing good or bad, especially if you're doing bad, you feel like everyone out there is out there to get you. Like I had a bad game at home this year, and our own fans were booing me.
Wow.
And it's like, come on, like I'm not out here doing or trying to do bad, and you're supposed to be on my side, and like I'm trying to say we're people too. Like you saw last year, like in the NBA, a couple of fans got kicked out because they were throwing drinks at the players.
Yeah.
And like whoever the player was asked them to be permanently banned from the.
Might have been LeBron.
Yes, yeah, there was a couple that did that. So it might have been LeBron. I completely get where he's coming from. Like some people said, "Oh, he's just overreacting. You're going to ban him from the stadium." It's like, yeah, I mean, we're out here trying to do a job, and like, imagine if someone came to your job and they just started screaming and throwing stuff at you all day. Like, you wouldn't like that. Why is it any different for us?
Yeah, I think every baseball player should be able to go, or every sports athlete should be able to go to a fan's job and just yell at them for a day. Like just one day. That's all. Like just one day, you can just go at any fan you want, maybe multiple, take a little trip, and just yell at them and tell them how crappy they're doing at their job. And maybe just boo them. Just be like, hey, or ask for their pen. Hey, can I get your computer? Yo, let me get your mouse. Let me get your mouse.
Dude, we need to make that a TV show.
Exactly. That would do numbers. Like we may be onto something here.
That's such a good idea. Yeah, I need to keep that in the back of my mind.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Well, let's end it on this. Obviously, you're in Double A. You're rehabbing. Are you going to be able to make the team? Do you think this season, or is this like? Do you think you'll be able to come back this year?
Hopefully I will. Yeah. So as of the last couple of days, they've started letting me do a little more baseball stuff. I started throwing yesterday.
Okay.
Some defense stuff, started swinging a little bit, taking a light on that just to make sure my fingers, holding up good. Finger feels great. So I think as long as they don't have any problem with me joining before the end of the season, I think I'll be back because I'm going to bet maybe a week or two more and I'll be healthy. So
okay,
as long as they'll let me, I think I got the last month of the season left.
Awesome. Who's somebody on the Double A team that kind of Astro fans should get kind of excited about? Maybe someone who's under the radar. Maybe it's you. Go ahead and it's a true circle. Go ahead and give yourself some credit right there.
Yeah, man, me. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could always take more fans. I love it. Man, just about everybody, dude. Justin Dearden, he just got called up to AAA. He's been going off this year.
Okay.
He's one of the most quiet guys that I know. But he's a good dude. So I think if people could rally around him, it might bring him out of his shell more. And just about everybody, dude. I mean,
who's the locker room guy there? Like who keeps it light for the boys and in Double A?
Brian Arias, that's for sure. Brian Arias, he's a good dude. He's always got some jokes going on. Cody Deason, he's always a goofball, making people laugh. Yeah, those are the main two guys that I can remember.
That's awesome. Well, hey, you mentioned they chirp you, they boo you. Look at this. This is going to be the official Luke account, official Luke podcast. I might use my Twitter account as your burner account. Like we'll chirp back at them. If I hear them talking back, I'll go ahead and clap back. Be like, look, top 30 prospect, no big deal. I want to, thank you for coming on the pod. I really appreciate this. We'll have to do this again. And like, we might have to run it with some COD or something. Like, I'm not going to I'm serious, man. Like I gotta, I got you may carry me, no big deal, but I'll be the locker room guy in our squad here.
Perfect. Keeping the spirits high, even if we're losing back and back. But yeah, it's,
That's what I do.
that
I just
sounds
I just maybe crack a couple jokes here, keep it light for the boys. So what my role might be, but we'll have to run it sometime.
perfect, dude. Sounds good.
All right, brother. You have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thanks.